Hi there, knife people. Hello, lady and gentlemen. Today, I'm going to get into this knife by MKT or Medford Knife and Tool Company from Arizona. And I'm going to rip into this knife a little bit for a couple of reasons. A, I like the knife and I care about areas of improvement. And B, the CEO, owner, and key knife maker in this company, he doesn't mince words, so why should I? I'm not big on like typical unboxings, but this box deserves a couple points to be made about it. First of all, right here, I don't know if you can read it very well, it says made in the USA, so thank you, Mr. Medford, for giving American workers jobs. Inside, very nice touch, a certificate of authenticity with a real signature. I imagine it's from Greg Medford himself. And a couple cool patches, and then some warranty information. What can you do with a case like this? Well, you can pretend you're a spy, but first you have to detach that noisemaker here. There you go. All right, you can pretend you're a spy, like this. And what you can fit in this case are the following items. A spare magazine for the real spy gun P7. A passport or two. Some foreign cash. It's like 1,000,000 rupees. I don't know what you can buy with that. And a thumb drive with all the secrets that you've collected. So Greg, this is useless junk to most of us. I don't know who asked you or requested to ship it in a waterproof container, but if you're spending any money on this at all, I would appreciate if you stopped and passed the savings to the customer. But what is important to your customers, sir, and Chris Reeve people seem to understand it, is to get a sharp knife right out of the box. Sharp. This knife that I paid $120 more than for the Incosi there, I can't even get the cut started. It's so dull. In fact, it's so dull, I'm not afraid to do this. Watch, this is my natural finger. And this is a knife, and that's how much pressure I apply to it. Can you see it? And I'm running it back and forth, back and forth. This knife is dull, sir. And, you know, you can blow your horn about what you care about and what you don't, but if you deliver a dull knife like that, this has been sitting in the counter since May 22, this knife. At least it was manufactured in May 22. In a very high traffic, very reputable store in Virginia near Richmond, where people buy thousands of guns every day and hundreds of knives. So you want to stay competitive, draw your own conclusions, sir, with all due respect. And I want you to succeed because you're just another American company who potentially will suffer the fate of others if you don't straighten your quality. And before some idiot troll mouths off that I bought it used or dulled it myself, I bought it new for my birthday last Thursday, August 24, 2023, at a Green Top sporting goods store in Ashland, Virginia. And the reason I do want to carry this knife is because it has perfect geometry and ergonomics for a everyday carry knife. And when I say everyday carry, it's for like trivial tasks, but also if I'm in some sort of emergency, will this knife serve as a survival knife for a day or two? So I think the answer to these questions for this specific knife is yes, on both accounts. So I like the fact that there's no flipper tab protruding, because this is a feature I grew to despise on other knives because it prevents me from making low cuts when I do food prep or something similar. I love the finger troll here because I can bear down on the blade to do some precision cuts when I work with wood. I like the inconspicuous lanyard hole here and the fact that it's shaped like a triangle or a shield and it resembles the logo of the company. In fact, I love this knife so much, I already attached one of my favorite lanyards to it. And when I say attach, I can easily detach it because the way I run my lanyards is in such manner that I can easily remove them. By easily, I mean without unraveling the weave. So, like this. So it comes out. If you like this lanyard, hit the like button. Just smack it right now. I saw a review where they complained that the blade is protruding into the window, into the cutout. I think Mr. Medford fixed it because the blade is no longer getting into the space where the lanyard rides. So thank you for that. So there are a lot of things to love. They switched from proprietary hardware, I guess, in 21 or 22. And now it's a regular massive hex drive right there. My favorite feature, and that's what makes me want to carry this knife, is the blade to lock engagement. So I used permanent marker to color the ramp of the blade, and see this white metal showing through there? That's the engagement of the lock to the blade. When I open the knife, the lock bar engages through its entire width, which I appreciate. That is not the case with the Incosi because it has this patented ball bearing type of engagement, and I hope you can see it, but it only engages at one little point. So if I were to apply severe stress on the knife, such as during chopping or, God forbids, spine striking, this knife will basically, I don't know how it would act. I don't know what would happen to the bearing ball that engages the blade. The other Medford knife that I have, yeah, you can see that here without coloring, there's plenty of engagement there. So this is one thing, not the only thing they got right, but they got that down pat right. So I appreciate it because that's sort of the very essence of a knife, is how strong the engagement is. All right, I'm about to go and put a keen edge on this knife, but before I go, I would appreciate if you hit this like or subscribe button if you're not a subscriber yet. Without you doing that, YouTube will not promote my content to folks like yourselves with similar profiles. So please do. So originally I didn't have an intent to show you any part of sharpening, but this setup was so non-trivial that I wanted to share it with the community. First of all, let me show you what I'm doing here. I'm clamping closer to the back of the blade, and I recognize that the angle will change and open up wider. The bevel will open up wider toward the tip, but I'm consciously doing it because I'm doing my level best to not allow the sharpener plate to ride up this relief here on the bevel, on the primary bevel, and create a smiley face. It already exists a little bit, but I don't want to propagate it. So, and that's why I strapped these limiting stops here to just cardboard. And in theory, it'll prevent my plate from coming too close to the handle and riding up onto the ramp here. Zero out my inclinometer, put it over here. Check this out. Now, if you can see it, it's set up for 60-degree angle. This blade is ground for 60 degree or 30 degrees per side. And there's a slight difference between the two sides. But I'm not going to keep it at 30. You can see right here, it's set up for 30 at the factory. I think that's nuts, especially for the slim. I can see maybe able to justify it on a humongous Praetorian, which is more of an axe. But this makes it into an axe, not a knife. So I'm gonna take issue with that, and I'm going to lower significantly. I don't really want to go super wide on the bevel. Timer on this thing times out too quickly. See, I'm never happy about anything. So I'm gonna go to 20 degrees per side, which I think this particular blade configuration could take even more acute angle. Yeah, and this is how I'm gonna take it down. You can see I'll be grinding at the edge for a little while. I start with a 320 grid. When you're working on a blade as wide as this one, the key to everything is not to apply any downward pressure whatsoever, because any downward pressure will incline the blade and you will never get a flat, consistent grind or bevel. So just back and forth and allow the weight of the plate carrier, just its own weight, do all the pushing here. So I just flipped over and double checked all my angles. I measure here on the base, not on the table, to zero the inclinometer. 20. So where I started grinding already, it's dropped a little bit, which is expected, and it's 20 toward the tip, even 21 here. We'll clean it all up, but this is where I'm at. I'm gonna raise it just a hair. I'm going back and forth, no downward pressure, just back and forth, no rotation with fingers, same rules. If you don't follow this simple rule, you are asking for trouble. You will never get a flat, proper flat bevel if you apply any pressure because of all the flexing in the knife. So I'm putting final touches. This heat treat on this blade is perfect, absolutely perfect. S35 VM has very small carbides. Small carbides mean that edge retention will be excellent. I think if I take it up to a mirror polish, I will sort of ruin the aesthetics of the knife. Right now this finish here matches the brushing on the elements that are in titanium or left in the white. So I don't want to add a visual point of interest to this otherwise very laconic design of this knife. You can feel and hear the silky sound of small carbides being removed without chipping. Maybe my imagination. The symmetry of the primary grind on this particular blade is excellent. All right, this is a piece of printer paper. And let's see. This is tricky. What do I do with that? And try paper coming in from this side. Ah, it's running away. So I wanted to show what's in the box that came with the knife, in case anybody doubts the authenticity of the knife. And here's the outer box with a matching number to this one. And here's the infraction. This one had a symmetric problem. That's the other video I did. And here's the box and the matching tag that was attached to, I don't remember, to the knife or to this box. And here's the certificate dated July 19, 2023. It's a much fresher production here. Sorry about my fingerprints. It's a beautiful knife, actually. Anyway, don't accuse me of something I haven't done. It's exactly how these knives came from the store. One more thing I found out about this knife. Do not remove the pocket clip unless you want to disassemble the entire knife to reinstall it. It's not designed to be easily reinstalled. The reason, it's right hand side only. There's nothing on the left hand side. So if you remove it, sorry, it's very unusual. The frame, the piece of titanium here, it's not threaded. So the screws, instead of being threaded, it has hexagonal countersinks for the nuts. This knife has nuts. It is nuts. There are nuts in place that hold the pocket clip, which kind of, if you really want to overkill something, this is the way to go, right? Because now you can torque. This is a T10. That's another word here. This is a T10 hardware here on the pocket clip. So if you really want to torque down on it, that's the way to go. Nuts in there, hexagonal nuts, stainless steel. The reason I know I took it apart and then I was determined to reinstall it without disassembling the knife, which I did, but it took some doing. And so to tell you, I'm a former machinist, CNC machinist, so I know how to do, and I helped my dad in his jewelry store, so I know how to do machining and jewelry, and this is like a mix of both. So very, very, it's probably the most entertaining knife in my collection, and I'm looking forward to years of abuse I'm going to inflict on it. Thank you, Medford Knives. If I sounded disappointed, it's because I was, and I'm not going to mince words. Some things that this knife, some defects that both of these knives had should have never left your factory floor, but they did, and here we are having a friendly chat.